shame I can't get in there tonight, but I do respect the fact that it's either private property or it's considered dangerous. So just going to change my plans. There's quite a defined footpath that I was on to get down here, so I'm just going to backtrack on that, see where it leads, and then think of somewhere else to camp. I've ended up back at Throop Lane. That's where the embankment was, heading steeply down to Shepton Mallet. I did 3 sides of my square, decided the tunnels were not accessible, decided not to camp there. There seems no point after that. So I actually rode along the track bed. It's quite rough, but it's actually rideable for most of the way between Windsor Hill tunnels and back here. And then the last bit was just literally down this gravel track. And I'm back at Throop Hill, about quarter of a mile from the road by Masbury Station. So quite a big change of plan. When I got to Windsor Hill tunnels, I've noticed since my last visit 18 months ago, they're now gated, so there's no access through them. So that's changed my plans, because they're set in quite a deep cutting and it's quite dark and dank down there, very wooded, and I was prepared to tolerate that because I wanted to walk through the tunnels after dark and explore them. But now that's no longer possible. I just wanted to camp somewhere lighter because it's a lovely late afternoon, early evening. So I headed towards Dinder. It's not far from Croscombe, because I knew there was a few farms around there, and I just thought, hey, I'll just knock on a farm door and ask if I can camp in their field. And lo and behold, this farmer actually sets aside a little field for people who just want very, very minimal facilities. All there is behind me is a water tap. So I did buy some water earlier on, so that was unnecessary. So gonna get my tea on in a minute, and then I'll chat to you a bit later. So my last wild camp at Stony Littleton Longbarrow, I just demonstrated the Schnozzle pump bag inflating my X-Ped sleep mat, and it also does the X-Ped pillow as well. Just to make one thing very, very clear, I have no intention of monetizing this channel or trying to recommend things and becoming a billboard. It's just not the purpose of this. Everything I say is personal opinion only. So just a little bit about another aspect of my kit. My tent, it's called a Storm Shield tent. I actually got it from Millets about 10 years ago. It was in a sale. It's since been discontinued. I think that's why it was so cheap. And they also gave me 10% youth hostel discount off it as well. So I picked it up for something ridiculous like 40 quid, thinking it'll be a temporary tent until something better comes along. But it's so good, so easy to erect. I've just carried on using it. Before that, I had quite a good tent. I bought it especially to go to America when I cycled across America. And I was starting that in the middle of the winter, and I'd be crossing the Continental Divide late winter, so I wanted a really good tent. And I bought a Terra Nova Voyager, which was a great tent. Unfortunately, in America, the fly sheet got ripped because I got caught in a sandstorm, and also I left it one evening to go into town, and when I came back, all the tent zips had been damaged because raccoons had tried to get in and get my food. So I still used it for years afterwards, but eventually the doors just collapsed really. So I was going to replace it with a Voyager, but in the interim period they'd actually not only doubled the price of them, they'd actually changed the design. And what I loved about the Voyager was it just had such a simple design. You just put 3 poles through 3 tunnels, and they just complicated it and made it very, very complicated, unnecessarily complicated to erect it by using a series of hooks. So I just said to the people in the shop, no, I don't want it after all. And that's when I bought this one. As I said, an interim tent, and it's been so good, I've been using it ever since. It's not the lightest tent, 2.2 kilos. I mean, that's just over 2 bags of sugar, but it's so convenient. There's a lot of space in it, gives you an idea. It's a 2-person tent, so it sleeps me easily. All my kit in there. It's got quite a big porch area, so I do cook in there sometimes if it's raining or a bit cold. The door also has a netting built into it, so you can either have it the full door or a mosquito net. There's a mosquito net at the back. There's a window here as well. There's a velcroed vent and only 2 tent poles. They're both colour coded, and so are the tunnels as well, so it's so easy to put up. Well, that was quite nice. A couple in a camper van just stopped and offered me half a gallon of cider, scrumpy cider. They were just on their way back from Glastonbury Festival, and I think they've just overdone it the last few days. But I've got 2-pint cans of Carlsberg here, so I had to politely decline. I mean, I've dragged those over the Mendips today, so I just want to drink them tonight and then crush the cans. But yeah, that was really nice, because I had to decline, because if I drunk cider and scrumpy, I'm going to be ill during the night. But yeah, random acts of kindness is so nice, aren't they? So it's about 10 to 9 now, and I'm looking south down towards the Sheppey Valley. End of this field, there's quite a steep drop down. It's equivalent to the drop I did earlier on down to Croscombe. That was that way, probably about a mile or so. You can actually see the Mendip transmitter there, just in front of the sunset. It's a stunning location this. All I can hear is wildlife and birds in the trees. This is quite a find actually. It's 10:30 PM on July the 1st. There's still a lot of afterglow from the sunset. You can see the Mendip transmitter there now, quite well defined with all its very distinctive red lights up the tower vertically. It was quite hard to make out earlier on because it's bathed in the sunset. Well, hello, good morning. Welcome to my lovely camping field on a farm above the village of Dinder. I'm up in the Mendip Hills overlooking the Sheppey Valley. There was that lovely view behind me last night with the Mendip transmitter in the distance as the sun went down. I did a time lapse on my high definition camera and it looks like it's come out really well. I can't wait to see that when I get home. So I've just got my sleeping mat out now. I'm starting to pile things onto it in separate piles, like the wash kit, the cook kit, clothes kit. Just helps me get things organised. It gives it a chance to really dry out as well. The tent's still in a bit of shade at the moment, so that's still a bit wet. I'll probably dismantle that soon and put that in the sun to dry that out. No great hurry to get home though. Looks like it's going to be a lovely scorcher of the day. So I'm going to head up to Masbury Garden Centre for a bit of, well, it was going to be breakfast. I think it's going to be more like brunch. So I'm just leaving the farm now. So it's actually up a dead-end track off a very minor road. So it gives you an idea of the location. There's Glastonbury Tor over there. I guess that must be the Polden Hills just behind it. And further on the horizon, Exmoor. And then looking around, you see that amazing view I had of the Mendip transmitter last night. It's now Tuesday lunchtime and I'm well on my way back to Bath. So what I've been trying to do on this trip is actually replicate a journey that the Somerset and Dorset Railway would have taken across the Mendips from Bath Green Park over Masbury Summit and then dropping down to Windsor Hill tunnels. No matter how many pictures I've seen or movies or written or spoken accounts, it never really conveys it to me what it was like. So I just tried to capture that by riding the bicycle across it. And there's times when I've been grinding up quite steep hills and seeing the railway climbing at the same sort of rate and realising just how severe that must have been. And I guess the main appeal of this line for me is the geography really, and the fact that it's heritage, connecting places, and you can still do that on a bicycle. And as I always say, I'm a cyclist who really does not love bicycles. I really don't like bikes that much. And it's the same with this. I mean, I'm fascinated by this line, but I just don't love trains in the same way as I just don't love bicycles. It's the geography for me, where it takes me, and you can still connect those places I find that fascinating. So that's what I've been trying to convey on this movie. So since I've been back from my end to end, I'm just teeming with ideas for exploring local places. So in the coming weeks, I'm going to be visiting a decoy town, a town which never actually existed, although the authorities went to great lengths to try and persuade people it did. And I'm also going to be exploring a ghost town, a town which actually did exist, which no longer does. So hopefully you'll keep watching the videos over the next few weeks,